All right, team. Special treat here on Clay and Buck. Actor Kirk Cameron is with Clay in New York in studio. You all know him from Growing Pains, but also the books that he's been writing and the efforts he's been giving to try to make sure that kids are actually reading good stuff and not some of the filth that's in schools. His latest book is The Fox, the Fair, and the Invention Scare, which sounds very interesting. Clay, I'm going to let you take it away with Kirk there in studio because you guys are right there. But, obviously last night the DeSantis stuff with the books got a lot of people's attention.
Yeah, you've got a bunch of different copies in front of us right now here in New York of books that are, and people who are watching this on video can see it. But these are books. I want you to tell people out there who may not be paying attention. These are books that are, like, for instance, this one right here is called, I want to read this. Welcome to St. Hell, My Trans Teen Misadventure. This book right now, and I'm holding this up, but I mean, I'm kind of looking at it, and I'm kind of in disbelief. This would be marketed to what age kid based on your understanding?
8 to 12.
8-year-old kids would be able to read.
That's second grade.
Second grade. I have a third grader. This is crazy to me. My Trans Teen Misadventure. Like, this would be marketed to an 8-year-old second grade kid.
And what's in it is so lewd and so obscene that when we pasted one of the pages on a Facebook ad, Facebook community standards banned it and shut it down for posting obscenity that violates their community standards. And that's for adults. This is a book for children. And this is why I'm on this mission right now to give parents and grandparents an opportunity to engage and stop merely complaining about the bad stuff and start creating the good paths that we can go down and build a world for our children where they've got hope and a future.
And also, this is significant because you're not saying that no one should ever be able to read a book like this. You're just saying second graders shouldn't be exposed to the idea of trans identity. I mean, that's wild. I mean, I've got a third grader. The idea that we would be teaching kids that young that they are not the gender they think they are is madness, because kids that young are not very far away from pretending that they're different animals or that they have imaginary friends. And as my wife likes to say, we wouldn't let our kids pick what they can eat at that age. We're going to let them pick their gender? It's wild.
It is wild. And what we're seeing is, where do we want to go with this? I mean, this is a brilliant wedge that will ultimately separate children from their parents. And I think that is one of the main goals. When you sexualize children at a young age and you get them to start questioning basic fundamental building blocks of society, like, am I a boy or a girl? And I can change that. You are able to then pique their curiosity, take them down a rabbit hole, and get them to trust in communities that don't have their best interest in mind. And then all of a sudden the parents are they're the archaic people, and they can't be trusted, and they're transphobe or they're whatever phobe. And pretty soon you've got 7 hours a day with these kids all by yourself to train them into little Marxist lemmings to do exactly what the state wants them to do. So, look, we can either whine and complain, or we can get in the game and start moving the ball in the right direction. That's why I have partnered up with Brave Books. I've partnered up with Sky Tree Book Fairs to replace Scholastic and all of this harmful stuff and get helpful, wholesome books onto the shelves of libraries and public schools and private schools across the country.
Kirk, I know that you've tried to go to some libraries to read wholesome, uplifting, and worthwhile books. And this is in an era of Drag Queen Story Hour and, some of the trans agenda books and things you mentioned. That seems to be fine with libraries, but you wanting to read nice, wholesome stuff, that's been a problem sometimes at these libraries. What happened?
Oh yeah, this has been going on for the last year. I suppose if I just busted out my fishnet stockings, my miniskirt and heels, and showed up as Kirk Dazzle Glamoroni, I'd have been accepted with open arms. But because I came in and said, hey, how about we sing God Bless America, recite the Pledge of Allegiance, we thank God for giving us such a special country, and let's read a book about faith, hope, and love. It was a hard no. in some libraries. Now, other libraries were like, come on, we want you to come here. We don't like all of this garbage that we're getting shoved down our throats. And when they told me I couldn't come, and I reminded them that this is America, this is called viewpoint discrimination on their side, and that I would be prepared to exercise my constitutional rights against them for the discrimination, they changed their mind. We showed up, and 3,000 parents and grandparents were there to welcome us, flooding the library, making it the most attended event in the history of these downtown libraries in blue cities. So the narrative, the perception is not the reality. Boots on the ground, people in the trenches, moms and dads and grandparents want the stuff that leads to their children's blessing and protection. And we've just got to not be afraid, stand up and get in the game. I mean, look what Elon Musk is doing right now. Look how he is championing free speech and telling these people to F off if they want to try to buy his free speech from him with money. I'd use a different lexicon, but we need to have the same attitude of if we trade our freedoms for safety, we'll end up with neither, because the government will come in and they will shut down everything, and they're well underway.
Okay, I'm fascinated by your path here. A lot of people out there listening are around mine and Buck's age, and we grew up watching you on Growing Pains. 1980s television. I like to show 1980s movies to my kids. There is a wholesomeness to them that doesn't necessarily seem to exist in our culture today. Would you have ever believed, working in Hollywood, making a super popular show, that 25, 30 years after that show, you would be going around trying to get people to read wholesome books, or that it would even be necessary?
No. Never thought I'd be hanging out with two guys like Buck and Clay on a radio program like this, talking about essential values, about first principles in the nation. And in fact, all of this is really driven by my love for God and my love for my family, which was really a foreign concept to me, at least on the God stuff, when I was on Growing Pains, because I was an atheist at the time. And
what changed? Why did you change? What happened in your life?
I could explain it in so many different ways, but I met a really cute girl who invited me to church, and not to devolve too far down, just to say that I became a Christian for her, because I didn't. But what transpired was I believe God himself opening my eyes through asking questions, getting great answers, hearing the message that really captured my heart, my mind, and I went down a road that led me to believe that it took more faith for me to hang on to my atheism, blind faith, to believe that God does not exist, than it did to believe that all of this came as a result of a powerful, intelligent creator. So that was a big shift for me. So the fact that I'm here with you guys talking about this stuff and pushing back the darkness, making inroads for the kingdom of light, and establishing what's good and right and beautiful for children, man, I couldn't be more thankful.
And how do you think, the movement is going, Kirk, to create more content specifically for children these days, that has to come from more independent creators? We're going to have the Daily Wire guys on the net now. They're making a kind of a mockumentary, or a film that's taking on the trans issue that's not necessarily for kids. But I think they've also done some children's books. I think Matt Walsh did a children's book. And they're trying to create more of this content because, it feels like for the average American, if you believe in traditional values, if you believe in God, like, Disney has abandoned you.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%. But, if we could go back and bring Noah Webster back, our founding fathers, and John Adams and George Washington and all the good guys, and ask them what's going on, I imagine they would say something like, Kirk, Clay, Buck, you never should have depended on Disney in the first place. You shouldn't be hanging your hat on companies or organizations that are going to keep these values going. This has been entrusted to you as dads, as moms. You've got to teach this stuff to your kids. And at the heart of the whole thing, you have to understand that this thing called freedom is a gift from God. And you've got to protect it, and you've got to nourish it, and you've got to just go for it with all of your heart.
Kirk, we really appreciate the time. We know how hard you are working. If people want to see more of your work, where should they go?
Well, you can follow me on my social media platforms, or better yet, go to stopscholastic.com and see the movements that we are up to this weekend.